RMP-TV.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a quick review of the latest Vaxis Atom 500. It is a wireless video transmission system for filmmakers, videographers and content creators. Basically, if you need to send the video signal from a camera over a certain distance without cable, this is what you need. But first, let's do the unboxing. So let's see what's inside. We have instruction manuals, both the transmitter and the receiver, USB cable Type-C, 2 screws and a hex key, cold shoe platform, a 90-degree rotatable cold shoe adapter. So it looks pretty much straightforward. Since they both look identical, how do we identify them? Well, this is the transmitter with the TX over here, and this is the receiver with the RX over here. It feels very light but solid. The grey body is made of metal, and the top part here is made of plastic, which I guess is where the antennas are hidden. And this is really the plus point of the Atom 500. The transmitter has one HDMI in and one HDMI out. So if you need to use a monitor, you can connect it to the HDMI out. There are two ways to power this unit. One is using the USB Type-C cable, while the other way is using the Sony NPF series batteries. There are 3 buttons right below the OLED screen, flush to the body. This is where you can find the power switch over here. There are 2 1/4-inch 20 screw mounts over here and here. This is a place where you can mount the cold shoe platform with the 2 screws provided, but just leave it if you don't really need it. So the receiver is pretty much the same, except that it has 2 instead of 1 HDMI out. Imagine if you need to exercise social distancing during filming and the director doesn't want everyone to crowd him. You need another monitor. Then this second HDMI out will solve the problem. Let's power up both the transmitter and the receiver. You only need to pair them once, and every time you turn them on, give them about 30 seconds for them to recognize each other. Then you are good to go. You could see the signal strength, the temperature, the fan, the battery's voltage, the video channel, and the video signal. Next, I'm going to toggle the menu. We have pairing, SSID for the Wi-Fi via app, and the password, the connected receiver, app control, and the firmware version. You can change the channel only on the transmitter, and the receiver will tune to the new channel automatically. On the receiver, you could change the priority to either latency or image, depending on your needs. If you think that the fan in the unit is loud and it disturbs the recording, you could turn it off or to low. The system transmits video signal at up to 1080p 60 fps and with a delay less than 0.1 seconds. And it is 100% audio and video sync. The signal range is up to 500 feet or 152 meters line of sight. And now it is time for us to see its real-world performance. We have rigged up a GoPro with Atom 500 transmitter in car 1 while we attach the receiver to a monitor and recorder in car 2. We keep a safe distance of about 82 feet between car 1 and 2 in clear line of sight. When a car suddenly cut into our lane, the visual froze before the signal was completely cut off. I had to overtake the car and catch up with car 1 as closely as possible for the transmitter to reconnect automatically. It took about 25 seconds for the visual to resume. When we were in the tunnel, the signal remained strong as long as we adhere to the rule of clear line of sight. This was also the same when we were driving in the city. The signal range increased when we were in the suburbs. We estimated at least 721 feet. I'm actually amazed by how far it could go. Our next test, we went to an open space right in the middle of the city. At 372 feet, the signal was good, But after a little further, the video feed dropped completely. The distance was a little shied away from 500 feet. I wonder why. We then moved to a shopping mall. It wasn't crowded, but I didn't really have a high hope on this as I thought the signal interference would be greater. I was out of sight at about 250 feet before making a U-turn to avoid exiting the building. The video feed remained strong throughout the recording, and this gives me an idea. I will share with you later. Having done the test, I think the next question is, how does the Atom 500 compare with its closest competitor, the Hollyland Mars 400S? As a filmmaker, I'm going to share with you my thoughts comparing these two. Needless to say, the biggest difference at first glance is definitely the antenna. When I use the system on a gimbal or a smaller camera, I like everything to be as compact as possible. Having protruding antennas could be an obstruction and it may affect the gimbal's movement. Secondly, I like the overall design of the Atom 500. It is sleek but not as well built as the Mars 400S. This really feels like a tank, and it could also be the reason why it is slightly heavier than the Atom 500. One thing I've also noticed is that the Mars 400S cannot be powered using the USB Type-C port, even though there is one over here. The port is only meant for firmware update, and this is where the problem is. If I want to attach a Mars 400S transmitter to my gimbal, I have to also take in the weight of a battery to power it, and this is going to be heavy. If I use Atom 500 on the gimbal, I have the options of powering the transmitter by connecting it to a power bank, which I carry in my pouch. This will definitely lighten up my load of my camera setup. Another advantage of the Atom 500 is that it has 100 feet more in terms of signal range. The signal latency of both is about the same, around 0.1 second, which is I think acceptable to me, and both are app friendly. In terms of my experience navigating around the menu, I personally prefer Mars 400S. Its buttons are not flush to the body, so it's easier to press and quicker to change any settings. One thing which is lacking in Mars 400S is the ability to turn off the fan or adjust the fan speed. I think it will be useful to have, especially when I need clean audio. So that's it for the comparison. Moving on with the Atom 500. When we did the test at the open area, I was wondering why the signal couldn't reach 500 feet. It was probably because due to the surrounding wireless interference. You know, more interference means shorter distance. Less interference, longer distance. Still remember the idea that I had during the indoor test. In the past, I directed and monitored undercover filming using GoPro app. I had a lot of problems with the signal strength and latency, and I couldn't go far. A professional wireless transmission system back then was either expensive or bulky, and Atom 500 just make it so much affordable, small, and accessible to all. Now I could use it for my undercover filming. This opens up a whole new avenue of possibilities, and the only limitation is your creativity. During this pandemic, we are required to keep a safe distance from one another when filming. This is when the Atom 500 Vision app comes in handy. One transmitter can send video feed to 4 devices, 1 receiver, and 3 iPhones or iPad at the same time. So, what's my final take on the Vaxis Atom 500? I would definitely choose this over Hollyland Mars 400S. Perhaps the only shortfall that concerns me is the 3 buttons on the Atom 500. They are harder to press, well, at least for my fingers. Other than that, it's affordable, small, easy to use, and packed with features for the price. Finally, I would like to thank Vaxis for sending me this unit for review. If you find this video useful, don't forget to comment, like, and hit the subscribe button. See you next time. Cut!
Wait.
What?
This one.
Oh. How can I forget the skin wrap from Vaxis?